welcome again to Bloomerang Academy. Thank you for joining us today. Today, we're talking about how you can create better donor experiences with milestone automation from Gratavid. We've had Gratavid on Bloomerang Academy before, talking about a variety of different ways that you can use videos and help cultivating your donors. Today, we're talking about milestone automation. And to talk to us here today, our main presenter is Frank Mumford. Hi, Frank.
Hey there, how's it going?
Good, good. Thanks for being here today.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here. I wish I saw a couple people Will had put in there. It's 70 degrees in Fayetteville, Arkansas. I'm in Minnesota where there's still snow on the ground. It has been melting, but we finally got to see like 30, 40 degrees since December. So that has been fun.
That's pretty exciting. Spring is right around the corner.
Yeah, let's hope.
Well, I know we have a lot to cover today, so I'll let you take the presentation over.
Awesome. Well, thank you all so much for having me. And then I'm going to share my screen here. Once again, obviously, I am Frank Mumford with Gratavid. Really quick, just about myself. My background is nonprofit and fundraising. I spent a decade doing that, both in major gifts, annual fund, small, large nonprofits. And I actually got my start as a student phone-a-thon representative. I was a student caller in college. I had a lot of fun doing it, which is not normal, apparently everyone has told me. And I reflect back, Will found this out the other day, that I raised the most money in school history as a student caller. So that was a lot of fun. That was really my start into what it's like to ask people for money. And then I'm going to also start with a story. So enough about me. So I remember as a major gift officer, I was working and I had a donor who had been unresponsive for a pretty long time. And I talked to a couple other people. I consulted them. I was like, hey, have you ever met with, this donor? And they're like, yeah, they haven't been really responsive, but they're pretty significant donors. And so when I went, I saw they made a gift. I looked at their record. That gift had pushed them over $50,000 lifetime giving. And so I said to myself, I said, that's pretty significant. Why don't I do a little more and see if I can get a response from them? So what I ended up doing was I emailed them. I said, hey, thank you so much for your recent gift. If you didn't know, that gift put you over $50,000. And this is what it translates into the support and what you're doing in our community because of that donation. And I kid you not, immediate response. I went on from working with them for a very long time as a relationship officer and moving them to a major gift. And, if like reflecting on that, if I didn't send that over, honestly, I don't think they would have ever responded to me. I've met their kids. It turned into a really cool relationship, but it was one that from that milestone, which we're going to get into, that really started to blossom that relationship. And so really quick about Gratavid, our mission is really to bring that human connection to a digital world. So there's so much that gets stripped away with templated emails where donors feel just like another name on the spreadsheet, or they made a gift and it's like they checked out of, their Amazon account and they made a purchase. And really what we're about is that true, authentic communication where, you're treating humans as humans, not another dollar in the door, another name on a spreadsheet. And honestly, when we first started, we thought that video that was highly produced or was more commercial or like you're sending them an ad was going to do the best. And what I have on the screen, and I'll come back to this one, but that's John from Arkansas 4-H. That is him personally saying thank you just outside his house. And that's what we actually see work the best, is that in the moment where you stopped to say thank you, and those perform way better, you get higher open rates, you get higher engagement from your donors, and they feel very special. And that's kind of like the whole idea about this all, is you want them to feel special. You want to surprise and delight them. And so this is just a quick preview, and we'll come back to this as well. So this is really what my story talked about. But within the Gratavid integration, you're able to actually automate that, where you'll get notified when someone reaches that $50,000 lifetime giving threshold. And then it's going to give you that action to be able to say thank you personally and authentically through video. And I always say we're about automating the process, but not the relationship. Because when you automate the relationship, it doesn't feel good. It feels icky. You're not being true and authentic. So this is what we're going to go through today. I'm going to talk a bit about donor life cycle and retention. There's importance in that, as we all know. I'll go through celebrating milestones, and then I'll walk you all through the automation and what that looks like, and then I'll answer some questions. I also do have at the end a bonus article that Will had wrote on milestones and integrations. Okay, so right here we have donor life cycle. What is it? Why is it important? What does it look like? How are you showing up along the way through that donor developing a deeper relationship with you? That's really the donor life cycle. And so right here, this was a great one from our friends at Kindful, who is part of Bloomerang. And so really what this shows is that whole circular motion of, so a gift comes in, they give their second gift, it's really like the process of getting them to that ultimate gift. And the problem is, if you notice where that arrow is, that's where people and a lot of times leadership tend to focus is we need new donors in, we need new donors and all of that. And I'm going to tell you, spend your time with your current donors, because the cost of acquiring new donors can be 50 to 100% more than those donors given by them. So it's expensive to acquire those new donors. You have a well, you have people who are giving to you, or maybe it's a smaller well. Continue to build on those people. And, this whole push to get new donors in really reminds me of a quote from Benjamin Franklin. And so it's, when the well is dry, we know the worth of the water. So if you're not taking care of your well, your current donors, they're going to go away. That well is going to dry up, and you really are going to know what it means and what you should be doing as far as stewarding and retaining those donors. This is the other thing too. So push for new donors, that's great, but 18% are coming back. So one in five are coming back. That's pretty bad, to be honest. And then right here, a great quote from Penelope Burke: 93% would definitely or probably give again to a charity that provided a prompt and personal thank you. So what I always say is, think about the most meaningful connections you have. Is it a broad message, or is it that personal message where someone says like, hey, I know you as a person, I know you as a donor, and I'm going to show you that. So gift comes in, you thanked them, now what? So this is, the linear donor life cycle. So it's always great to thank donors right away, but then you start to lose ideas. And then what are you going to do throughout the life cycle to kind of show up a little differently? And then maybe that gift that they gave, reminds me of this quote, is maybe that gift that they're giving monthly at $25 a month pushed them over $500. What are you going to do with that? Like, you have this knowledge, or maybe you don't have that knowledge, but the donors, they do. They know that. They know how much they're giving to you. They want to be recognized for that. And so that's really where a lot of our milestones and a lot of what we built has come out of questions like this, from people like Pamela Grove, from donors, from users, is we should recognize them for certain milestones that they hit in their lifetime. So I keep on talking about these milestones, so let's talk about them. And once again, these are all in terms of giving. So let's celebrate giving milestones. So we have first time gifts. huge milestone, a lot of important data about thanking them quickly and promptly, personally. I already talked about that, to retain them, to bring them back. Number of gifts. So they made their first gift, great. Now their second gift, let's celebrate that. Their 100th gift, their 1000th gift. I jokingly said I got a notification from my Fitbit watch that I walked across the Serengeti. I was pretty excited about that. It's those simple things that may to you not seem like a lot, but to that donor, it shows that you know them and that you're paying attention. Off-schedule gifts. So this was actually one from Stephen from the Bloomerang team brought this up, that 13th gift in a single year. That's significant because maybe they're a monthly donor and they give an off-cycle gift. So recognizing, stewarding, and understanding those gift types. Total lifetime giving. So I brought this up in the story. That donor, they pushed over the $50,000 in giving in their lifetime. And it was an exciting moment, both for us as an organization to have someone who's so generous, but for them as a donor to know that, because honestly, I don't think they would have known that amount and the impact that they truly had throughout their lifetime of giving. So it's a fun way to celebrate them. Another thing is cumulative annual giving. So a lot of organizations have annual giving societies. Maybe they reached $500 annual, $1,000. When I worked at the United Way, we had the Tocqueville Society, which was a $10,000 gift annually. And so it's really important to celebrate those, but sometimes it can be cumbersome. And honestly, when I jump into the integration, you'll see how easy it is. And then the last, which I always say is perfect for plan giving, is years given. So those donors who've given you to 10 years consecutively, they've given to you 15, 20, 25. These are people that maybe they gave you $25 a year for the last 25 years. They are lifelong supporters. They are your prime plan giving prospects. And what a better way to recognize them, as well as introduce yourself, to talk to them about setting up, a charitable remainder unit trust or something fun like that. Lastly, here we have a great quote. Donors pay the most attention to the thank you communication. So with all these milestones, they're triggered by giving. So you know that you're going to say thank you, but what you mention is extremely important in how you provide that impact and that information to them. Because if you don't, then they don't know that you really appreciate what they're giving. So here's me with my Live United. So like I said, I worked at the United Way. I remember getting reports like this, multiple different organizations I worked for. I would get giving reports. You get a report on the lifetime, the cumulative giving, all of that. But the issue was, if I didn't go in to check the report, if I didn't open that email, it was great information, but there really wasn't that, like, I got it, now what? Or it wasn't as timely as I wanted to be. It could have been like a month ago that I went back. So cool, you got this data. You're sitting there like, great, now what? So that's really where automation can come into play. So, once again, I said at the beginning, I'm going to say it again. When we talk about automation, it's about automating the process, not the relationship. And when we talk about personalization, there's two types of personalization that I always bring up. Personalization is number one, you say their name. Personalization, the second thing is number two, is it's their passion, interests, and that's really where you bring personalization in as well. So those are two types of personalization we always look at. Okay. So with that, I am actually going to jump in and show you all how it works. So let me unshare and reshare my screen. And before I jump in, was there any other questions that I needed to answer live, or we good? Okay.
I think we're good. Yeah. I'll keep you posted though. Keep rocking it. I'm excited to see how it works.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Okay. So I'm laughing because I hope Will knows how this works. But so right here to get into Gratavid, what you're going to do is you would, if you had an account, you go to our website. I said I was going to come back to the John example. So here's John. Right there, we have him. Super simple, super easy. He's literally wrote their name on a piece of paper. He's outside his house. He's in Arkansas. Will said it's 70, so lucky him. So then what we have here is we have this Instagram story, Facebook story approach where then you have these generic videos. So the first video of John was personal. It was to Glenn. That second video of Grayson, this is going to be a more generic video that he can use over and over again. And so when you send these Gratavids out, this is going to be that end product where maybe you celebrate a milestone, a birthday, whatever it may be. This is where the end product, what we're going to build, looks like. So I always start with the end in mind and kind of go back to the beginning. So right here, to get into Gratavid, what you do is you're going to click login. I'm already signed in, so it's going to bring me to my account. So right here, there's two main features or concepts within Gratavid. You have your task list, and then you have your notes section. So first, your task list, that's where you're going to do those personal one-to-one videos where you're going to thank Donna. You're going to say their first name. You're going to be very specific and take that approach. Back to that human connection, this is really where it plays in. So right here, you have your task list. But before you can send out that video, you need a template to be able to put that video with, kind of that template that I showed you with John. You're going to need to build one of those templates. To do that, you go into your note template section. So in here, what we'll see a lot of times is people have templates for specific funds, specific milestones. They will have different templates for each. To create one, I could hit this plus button, but I'm just going to jump into this Project Fayetteville one and kind of walk you through. So really, when I click in, this is like a MailChimp, a constant contact, where you can really customize that experience and use this that way. So you could change the sender name. You could bring in merge fields like first name, last name. You can change the messaging if you wanted to. You can throw in smiley faces, whatever floats your boat or whatever messaging you're trying to get across. But that's text. Text is great, but video is the true star of the show. That's why we're here. We're Gratavid, not Gratatext. And so right here, there's 4 ways to put video in. Since I'm building this as a template, it's going to be more of a generic video if I'm going to record right here. You see me there. You could bring in other videos. Maybe you have a professionally produced video or more produced, or you have other people saying thank you, board members, whatnot. You have them in your video library. You could bring them in like this, add that in. You could upload from your computer, or you can actually request it. So the biggest issue with a lot of people, they're like, we love video, but the problem is people have to upload it to YouTube. They have to put it in Dropbox. They're texting me videos. And then how do I deliver that content to the donor? And so this kind of solves that. You can request videos from your executive director, a board member, a client, a student, volunteers, just so many options. And when you go to do that, to your video request, all you do in here is you'd fill out this form. So say Frank volunteer. You could put in directions, thank for National Volunteer Week right there. And then this, you could take this is the video request link. You can email it out of here, or you can text to someone. So that's really how you could capture videos really easily from people who you want to tell their story. Okay, so now I got a video in there. Next is the send to. In this section, this is where if you wanted to send this out to a list of people in the contact section, which is over here, you could bring in lists of people, maybe all your volunteers, all your monthly donors, prospects, major donors. You could send that out to a list of people using this. Right here, you can add call to action buttons. People always ask, could I do a donate now button? Yes, you can. But what we always see working the best is to inspire people through the video not to task or ask them through this. And so really it's learn more, get involved. If this inspired you, here's how you can get involved type of stuff. Yes, you can do your branding, different backgrounds, different logos for different times of the year. You can change up email subject lines, all of that. So that's great. So we just built our template. If I did want to send this out to a big list of people, I would just put individuals in here from my contact list. But other than that, that is my template that I'm going to use for my one-to-one sends. And then down there, you can send it. Okay. So now we have the note template set up. We're going to jump back and just note, I'm going to jump into the Bloomerang integration after the next section, because it all makes sense for me to go through this and then go to that. So that was my disclosure I was going to say at the beginning of this. I got too excited and started to jump in. Okay. So back to the task list right here. This is where I have a list of people who I need to say thank you. So right there, Donna made a gift in memory of their family. Gift here. If I want to add someone in, say a gift came in, you want to thank them, you could add someone in one by one. Like made a $1,000 gift in honor of kids. Okay. Then you'd add the person in, and then you add that. So now I could go and thank them for their $1,000 gift. Maybe you had a giving day or you had an event where a bunch of people gave. You could bring in a bulk list, 100 people, 200 people, whatever it may be. When you bring those people in there, you're like, okay, I'm a small shop. I can't thank 100 people one-to-one. It's going to take me some time. You can actually take these and divide it up among your team. And then the question always is, hey, we have board members, we have volunteers who said, yeah, I'll thank people. You can actually assign them to external users as well. The biggest difference between those two here, internal users can get into Gratavid, external users, you can assign and give them a link, and it just makes it easy for them to click that link and upload videos for you one by one. So now we have that. I got these assigned. Let's assign this to Frank or to Will. There we go. So say I logged into Gratavid and I needed to thank Frank for his $1,000 gift. All I have to do is click on that, click record. I got my nice sign here, which is super important. I'll come back to that though. So right here, hey Frank, thank you so much for your $1,000 gift in honor of kids. Truly appreciate it. Hope you're having great and look forward to talking to you soon. Take care. Okay. So you upload that. And what's great about this is you can really get personal with them. I kind of said the same thing over and over a lot of times, and then I would intertwine what I knew about that individual. So then in there, you can change me because I'm the speaker. And then this is where that note template I just showed you comes into play. So right there, Project Fayetteville. And then you don't have to recreate those notes or those templates over and over. All you have to do is select the right one. And then if I wanted that video that I put in that template, that note template, I just click box that. So now if I preview it, you'll see really nice video of me. We got that end product, that Facebook, Instagram story approach with multiple videos. Awesome. I am gonna send this off. Okay, so now that is sent off to me, last step of it all is right here. I got it in my inbox. There is me. And so this is what the donor is gonna get. So once again, human connection. Now you know why I use the whiteboard. It's because when the donor sees their name, or the individual who gets it, when they see their name, they're like, oh, that's cool. They maybe customize that. Then they clicked in. Then the biggest thing is Dale Carnegie says the sweetest sound is the sound of your own name. They hear their name. And so right here, they get to hear that. And then they're like, this happens a lot. Wow, this is amazing. How can I give you more money? They ask that ever needing question of how can they get more involved, get more money. So right in here, what's fun about this is when you send these, you want to get that message back. So back into your inbox. Now you would get that right back so you can reply. So those are the main features within Gratavid. When you send it, when the donor gets it, their experience, and then when you get a reply back. Cool thing about all this is you do get analytics, and some of these analytics are actually going to flow back into Bloomerang automatically for you. So we'll jump into that here in one sec. So right there, I have video plays, I get open rates, all of that. And then I know who's opening, who's dealing with all that. If I want to take further action with them, you can. So that is essentially Gratavid, which will lead me to our next section, which is the integration. But before I jump to there, was there any questions that I needed to answer live, or are we all good before I show the integration?
I think you're good. Maybe go to the integration, and then at the end, let's do an example video request, but take your time on the integration and just remind people, Frank set up two things. You got your note templates, which are good at creating those templates and sending in bulk. And you got your task list for creating those individualized, personalized videos. So now you understand those two concepts in Gratavid. Now the integrations will make sense. All right, take it away, Perfect. Frank.
Yeah, this is like the most clutch, amazing reason why we're here too, because this integration truly makes and will make your life easier. So right here, we have 4 options. So let's start with the most fun one, which is this right here. So by default, this will be turned off. Nothing's going to happen. But maybe a new gift gets added into Bloomerang and you want to send them a nice thank you note. So you could send a note right there, and it could be that generic Project Fayetteville note. And so I talked about earlier, personalization is key, thanking them either for the saying their name or what they care about, their program, project, or whatnot. So that's really where you can create some fun rules. So right here, I could add a rule. So we talked about the milestones. So it's their first gift. You want to take some action and thank them one-to-one for their first gift, because 1 out of 5 people aren't going to come back. So the better job you do here, the more likely they'll stick with you. So right there, it's a constituent's first gift. You could and can create a task and then assign it to someone on your team. Awesome. We got that taken care of. There's our first milestone. Next, maybe you're like, hey, all gifts over a certain dollar amount, you want someone else to thank. So all gifts over $500, you will create a task and assign it to someone else on your team. Sweet. Got that taken care of. Next is where the milestones truly come into play. So we talked about the first gift milestone, large gifts, stuff like that. So right here, the next section, we make this really easy for you. Constituents' number of donations reached any of these milestones. So if I click on that, you could say, like I talked about, their second gift. You want to celebrate when they come back a second time and make their second gift, because if you can get them to 3 or more gifts, they turn into a potentially lifetime donor. So you could say second gift, third gift, 15th, 50th, 100th, you get the point there. So you could celebrate them on certain milestones within their giving to say, hey, if you didn't know, you just made your 100th gift to our organization. Project Fayetteville really appreciates you. Okay. Next is constituent total lifetime giving reach. So back to my story with my donor, I said they were pushing over $50,000. You could say if you have a $10,000 level, 5,000, 1,000, you could then create a task and right there, assign it to someone on your team. So then they get that, and then they also know to celebrate those milestones with that donor. Next one is a really fun one, especially if you're not on a calendar year, if you're on a fiscal year. So right here, since month, constituent cumulative giving reach any of these milestones. So those are cumulative annual fund donors. So say you're a July 1 through June 30th fiscal year, you could say anytime their gift reached, talked about the $500, they reach 2,000, 5,000, 30 cumulatively annual giving. And so really, like, with all of this, I'll say, if you all know what stewardship matrices are, that's basically what this is automating. It's automating your stewardship matrix to take some action. And then the last one I talked about, which was the planned giving concept I shared, is they've given to for 5 years. That's a huge milestone. 10, 15, 20, 25, you get the point there. But you can automate that. And then maybe you're going to assign that to not the president, but maybe your planned giving person, so that they can go take some action and say thank you. The other things there is, you can add other additional filtering, like they upgraded their gift types, funds, and then you can also stack certain rules too. But that essentially is the milestone. So when you take this, you can really think this through. And our team, we're really good at talking this through with people, because certain people have things stored certain ways. And so we love to walk this through with people, but this is where you can really trigger some cool events in that person's life, in their giving, and then say thank you truly authentically. Okay, before I jump to the next 3, you can do exclusions, so pledges, in kind, all of that. But was there any questions on this? I imagine yes.
Yeah, and I can answer some of these. So
Sweet.
kind of just starting at the top. The way to think about this is going to trigger every single time a new gift comes in. So when a new gift happens in Bloomerang, take some action within Gratavid. And so it's going to be pretty much real time. There's about an hour delay. So every single time a new gift comes in, these rules are going to run. And so you can see Frank has rule number 1. Is it a constituent's first gift? If that rule is true, so a new gift comes in, it's a constituent's first gift in Bloomerang, then that's going to create a Gratavid task and assign it to Sarah ED. The cool thing about that is Sarah ED is going to get an email notification, and we actually have a Gratavid iOS and Android app. So then she'll get an app notification so she can record that video directly from there. If it's not a constituent's first gift, then it's going to make it on its way down to rule number 2, and then kind of trickle like that. And then the way the milestones work is it's going to trigger, it's basically going to check as those new gifts come in. So a new gift comes in, we're going to say, hey, rule 3, did this gift make that constituent, make that donor, make them give for 5 consecutive years or 10 consecutive years? If yes, then take that action. The actions you can choose from, you can create a Gratavid task, which, remember, that's how you personalize a video. So if you want to personally thank someone saying, congrats, just saw you, collectively you've given $1,000, then you'll select create task right there, or you can automatically send a Gratavid. So you could create a template if you wanted to. And then what's also cool about these, maybe on rule number 2, Frank, you show that you can stack these. So you could say, hey, if the gift is over $500 and it's from a specific fund or specific campaign, then send this Gratavid that's specifically talking about, this campaign or this fund. So there's a lot of cool ways you can stack these and, just send the correct video depending on whatever appeal that was, or fund or kind of campaign. Sweet. I think that collectively answered a bunch of these questions. I'll keep going on chat, but Frank, I think you're good to continue.
Cool. Yeah. Thanks so much. I normally say that. I just got too excited. And then the other cool thing is, like, these campaigns and all this is going to pull from your Bloomerang, not from whatever we decide for you, which is great, because then if you create a new appeal for, like, Giving Tuesday, for example, you can have it send for Giving Tuesday, because that's a crazy day where you might not be doing personal videos on that day. So they'll get a thank you for giving on Giving Tuesday, generic note right there.
Hey, one quick question too. It's easier to talk. Someone asked a question, will this start tracking gifts once you use Gratavid? No. So Gratavid actually doesn't store any of that giving transactional data, historical data. It's all going to be what data you have in Bloomerang. So basically when that gift comes in, we check Bloomerang, hey, what's the total giving for this donor, or how many years have they given? And then we'll fire those triggers based on them. So no data is saved in Gratavid, and it doesn't matter when you start using Gratavid. It's all going to use that data you have available to you in Bloomerang.
Yeah, Well, your source of truth is your CRM, which is Bloomerang, not us. And so we don't want to store that data. We want it to go back in, which is a great transition to the next three things. So right here, if you turn this on, anytime you send out of that task list, that personal video, you can actually store it back into Bloomerang in their activity under email, in person, whatever you choose. And then you can say the purpose as well. And then the same goes if I turn this on, any replies, I could say other, and then maybe it is other, or whatever you want. You can store it there. And then lastly, it's right here, Gratavid watched in Bloomerang. You could save it as something else and then save it back into your Bloomerang. What's even better is I can tell you that. I'm going to actually show it to you really quick. So right here in my task list, made this about 2 hours ago. Donna gave us another gift. She is rocking it. So right here, this was made out of my Bloomerang account. I know that because there's a link right here. When I click that link, it's going to take me to where that gift was created in their timeline. So there's that $320 donation that was created today. So there you have it. And then when that donation comes in, if you notice, there is notes, those notes will pull over too. So if there are specific notes about the gift, you're going to get that so you know what to say. And then in Donna's overall portfolio or profile, you'll see Gratavid acknowledged, watched, replied, and then sent. So all of those key metrics and data go back in automatically for you, because the number one thing that you don't, and we don't want you to have to do, is back end any of this data to put it back in. We want it to simply go in and be a true two-way integration. Awesome.
Sweet. So a few more questions here. I'll kind of just start from the top. There's so many, it's hard for me
I love it.
to chat. All right. So I answered the question about it's going to use the historical data you have in Bloomerang. Someone asked, will it automatically send the video? So that's where you decide, hey, create a Gratavid task so I can personalize the video. But if you want to, you can say send Gratavid note. And in that case, it will automatically send the note. Yes, you can filter based off appeals, funds, campaigns. So you can stack these if you want to. We see a lot of people, they'll say, hey, if the gift is from this appeal, then send this Gratavid automatically. So a lot of cool ways you can kind of stack that. Video save, yep, back in interactions is Bloomerang. That's what Frank just showed you. And you can follow the link. So Frank, you actually go in Bloomerang and maybe just click on one of the replies. So you can see that reply right there. So the constituent replied, love it. And then you also, if you scroll down a little bit, you can see that Gratavid link. So this is going to automatically flow back into Bloomerang for you.
And one thing to note on importance with this stuff flowing into Bloomerang is, if you notice, Donna, in her engagement level is hot. And that really plays into all that. If you do any reporting off of engagement level, this will help keep that info in your Bloomerang account as well.
Yep. Susan just asked, does it show when a Gratavid task is sent? So yep, it does. So when you send Gratavid task one-to-one videos, that shows back on the Bloomerang timeline. I think it's the one below that. Yep. That'll show. Someone asked, does it send the note automatically then? Yeah, it does. There's about an hour delay from when Gratavid gets the gift notification from Bloomerang. So it's not immediate, but it's about an hour delay. Someone asked if we use an outside processor, will that flow to Gratavid? Honestly, it doesn't matter as long as the gifts make it into Bloomerang. So however they're making it into Bloomerang, whether you're manually adding those, bulk importing those, you've got some kind of giving form, as long as it flows to Bloomerang, then it'll eventually flow to Gratavid. Sweet. And then maybe while we still have people, Frank, want to tell if people have questions where they can go to find out or book time or anything along those lines, and maybe we finish with sending me an example video request.
Yeah, so let's send the example video request, and then I'll go to where people can find us. So okay, so I'm back into here. I'm gonna click this. We're just gonna use our same note template. I'm gonna do request video, Will Trap live video request. So you all know it's like we're not tricking anyone here. So right here, I'm going to put in Will Trap, and then I'm going to do directions. Thank everyone for their time today. And I don't see your dog, Rue, so I'm not going to say anything about your dog. So right here, I'm going to text it to him. Or
yeah, it's hopefully no one texts me. And I would say don't give it to the auto warranty people, but they already have it.
Yeah.
And so, Frank, talk to us about use cases, like why you would send an example video request.
Yeah. So texting, number one, texting requests to individuals who are really bad about responding to email. I love text. Tends to be younger people sometimes. Will has it. He's going to record it and send it back. Just
will you click the link so they know what I'm looking at?
Yeah. So right here, this is what that individual is going to get. So if you sent this to your executive director,
Frank, thank you so much for the demonstration. You're rocking it, and I hope you're having a great time doing it. See you, buddy.
Love it. So say you want to get client testimonials, that would be one. I would use it as a volunteer. If I'm volunteering, I want to do a quick update. You can send it to people who volunteer to say, share your experience, board members. That's really where you can gather these videos easily, where you're not like, hey, can you share a video? And then they're like, how do I get it back to you? This is how you get it back, and get it back really simply. So I have your video. Thank you, Will. So right here, when you get that back, there's Will looking good today. So right here, you can actually download this. So if you want to use it for social, for an event, you can trim it. Looking pretty. It's a big photo of you there. And then the last thing that I always love sharing is Will spoke in English, but say English is a second language. You can actually have them speak in their native tongue. And then you can either take it from their language to another language, or from English to another language, and add those closed captions. So for us, that's really important with accessibility and ADA, especially with both visually and auditorily impaired individuals, as well as, language barriers. And so that's the importance of the closed captions. And if you create them, you can it automatically does it, and then you can edit them as well. And so I normally don't do this live, but they came pretty quick. So right there, you can see they're relatively, that's spot on.
Okay. Cool. Hey, one more question, Frank. Maybe tell us like how we can book a demo, or how do we learn more about Gratavid? But one more question. Julie asked about duplicates. So she's essentially asking, hey, how do we handle duplicates? So imagine I've got someone in Gratavid, will@gratavid.com, and a new gift comes in for that same donor. Or is it going to create duplicates in Gratavid? The good thing about Gratavid is we're not really trying to be your CRM. So, your constituent data, your household data, all that's going to stay in Bloomerang. And that makes it easy for us because we create contacts based on email address. And so that means if you add John@Gmail 10 times within Gratavid, it's only ever going to be one contact. So it makes it really, really simple for you to kind of manage those contacts within Gratavid. Great question.
Yeah, thank you for that. And I did say I was going to share an article that Will wrote. So this is that article. If y'all are familiar with QR codes, go ahead and scan that. It will bring you to an article on 6 thank you milestones to improve your donor retention, kind of what we talked about today. And then on our website, gratavid.com, if you wanted to learn more, schedule a demo, you can just go either to our website. In the upper right, it says set up demo. More than happy to walk you through and show you what it would look like for your organization. And then I think that's my Q&A. Let me see. Okay. Yeah. So just go to our website, gratavid.com, or if you've scanned this, it's going to bring you to our website as well, which then you can figure it out from there. But
yeah. If y'all just go to gratavid.com, if you have any questions, book a personalized demo, can talk you through more about how the integration works, answer your specific questions, send you a personalized video request so you can see what it looks like. And obviously, and then talk pricing as well. Cool. I think looking through the questions, I think we answered all the questions. Yes, we will. Someone asked, will we be sending a recording? Yes, we will. So be on the lookout for that. Lisa asked if someone gives within the same rule, would they get the same video? They would if it was an automated rule. That's what I'd recommend. To be honest with you, we don't see a lot of people using the rules to automatically send grativids. They're using it mostly to create these personalized tasks. So that way you can review it before you send a second one, or you can just put some kind of threshold, and you can exclude things like recurring donation payments. So that way you're only thanking them on that first recurring donation. They're not automatically getting thanked on every subsequent recurring donation payment. So a lot of ways you can kind of filter around that. Cool. Frank, someone asked about pricing? Do you just want to share?
Yeah, let me share my screen.
Cool.
Yeah, that kind of always comes up. I think this is our third or fourth time we've done a presentation with you all, and I think, yeah, pricing always comes up. So here is our pricing on our website. It's public. We have a couple different things. The enterprise is going to be more for if you want more users, more videos, all of that. It's more custom to your organization. And then with enterprise, you do get onboarding. On the pro plan, you could just go and sign up. It's $100 a month, billed annually, billed monthly, it's $119. That gives you 5 user logins. You get all the branded templates, pretty much everything I walk through. You do get video requesting. And then if you're like on the fence, you're like, I don't know if I'd actually use this or not, we do have a free trial, which you can sign up for and send some videos to friends, family, and colleagues. And with enterprise pricing, that's really where we try to match it to what's best going to serve you. And so this gives you a good starting point, the pro plan, as far as pricing goes, for where we go from there with enterprise.
Yep. Yeah. Typically we see if you have like 1,500 contacts or 1,000 contacts, or 10,000 or 100,000, that's typically where we see people sign up for the enterprise plan. So if you're on the fence there, feel free to set up a time, book some time.
Yeah. And then the other question too, as things have always come up, do we offer plans for smaller nonprofits? Yeah, if you just set up a quick call for us, we do have, we work with people who it's like one person who's there. It's pretty common. So we do have stuff for like very small nonprofits as well.
And Christine asked, is contacts the number of videos you send or the number of emails you have in Bloomerang? So contacts is the number of email addresses you want to use with Gratavid. So you don't have to add every single contact in Bloomerang inside Gratavid. And there's also a really cool feature called embedding, where if you want to, you can actually build these Gratavid landing pages and then build them inside Bloomerang's email template. And so maybe you have 6,000 people in Bloomerang, you want to send them a generic video, create your video in Gratavid, send it to all 6,000 in there. And then you're really just using Gratavid for new donors and mid-tier and kind of major giving.
I love it.
Cool. Yeah, and Julie asks, small nonprofit, we typically say a team of 3 or less, but if you're kind of on the fence, just talk to us. Honestly, I just set up a demo and say, hey, there's 5 of us or 7 of us, and we usually make it work for you. Me, myself, and I, you're definitely on this. You're definitely on the small end then.
I love that. I know many of you out there are wearing multiple hats in your organizations. We see you and we appreciate you.
I love it. In fact, it was actually Ross at Bloomerang, CEO of Bloomerang, who said, I recommend y'all have a $49 price plan or a cheaper price plan. So we started that for smaller nonprofits that are me, myself, and I rocking and rolling it. It's funny, you'd think we work with a bunch of like big universities, and you would think that, or I don't know what you'd think, but it's just cool to work with the smaller nonprofits because, I don't want to say they care more, but they kind of care more about the mission. They're closer to the mission. So it's just great to see them get in here, send these videos, and they just get such amazing feedback from their donors and from their constituents. So it's just a really cool experience. All right, someone asked, Christina asked, 10,000 Bloomerang households. Christine, I think I've got your email for a video request. I'll send you an email on what you just said. Perfect.
Awesome. And if any of you all are interested to talk more to Will or Frank or Britt, who's here today, let us know in the chat. They'll be happy to reach out to you. Also, I wanted to ask, there was a question I saw earlier that said, well, why do you need Gratavid for this? Why can't you send like recognition of milestones through Bloomerang? We definitely want to say that you don't need to stick to one method of recognizing your donors in terms of the milestones. You can certainly send an email from Bloomerang. You can certainly give them a call. But something that always struck with me, I forget if it was Will or Frank that had said this before, so please help me out, of like, an image is worth 1,000 words, but a video is worth how much?
1.8 million. Yeah. And we always would laugh too, is like, try to type that out. It's going to take you a while. Video is the most impactful, and everything we look at, we push and drive to for your constituents, for whoever to watch that video, because that 1 minute or 2 minutes, whatever it may be, it's going to be more impactful than any of the text you put in that message.
But yeah, I was going to say, Frank always says it's not an and strategy, or it's an and strategy, not an or strategy.
Yep.
So this doesn't mean don't call your donors. That two-way conversation, you can't beat that. Definitely write handwritten cards if you can. Just think of video as another option, another thank you option. If you think about it, there's just not a lot of thank you options out there. You can call someone, handwritten card. Add video to your arsenal. It's just so powerful. It's saying thanks and communicating back on the impact of your donation.
Yeah, and to phone call, we actually were visiting with a Bloomerang user this morning, and she literally said, like, yeah, I could make a phone call, but no one's picking up. And I'm like, I know. And then it's like, what people are comfortable with, it's like, do you pick up the phone? I certainly don't, if I don't know the number. And so that's really where video is like, and Gratavid allows them to look at it on their own time and where they're comfortable seeing it.
I love that call out too. It's another way to reach your donors, and you all know your donors best. Some of your donors are going to respond to a handwritten note. Some of them will answer your phone calls. Some of them might enjoy a video.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Love it.
And last thing I will say is I was a user of Gratavid before Will and I started working together, and I loved sending it to donors. I would always get high responses, and most of my donors. So I worked for Greater Twin Cities United Way, and I was working mostly with C-suite, CEO, and executives in Fortune 500 companies, and I would get replies back within minutes of sending it to them. And it was normally like, good to see your face. This is so cool. This is so unique. And every time I send it, they would reply back. And it was just a continuation of the relationship in between those mute times of an event, or they're giving, or sharing an article with them. It was just a way to check in, to give them progress, either on their gift or to ask them to visit. And so it just is another tool in your toolbox.
Love it. Yeah, well, I was just gonna say thank you, everyone. This has been fun. Like I said, if you have any questions, visit Gratavid, set up some time. Can walk you through tons of use cases and how other people are using it.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today. Thank you, Frank and Will and Britt. We do have a couple of minutes, and it looks like there's one last question.
So Christina asks, how do people? Yeah, that's pretty common. So one cool thing about Gratavid is you can send via email and via text. And Christine asks, how do you make sure that you have someone's mobile numbers or the landline? Honestly, Gratavid's a great way to find out. Because if you accidentally text someone it's a landline, we'll give you an error message that says like, hey, this can't be delivered. So, I mean, Gratavid can kind of help you solve that problem of figuring out who gave us a cell number versus who gave us a mobile phone or landline.
And then Marty asked, yeah, it's going to get recorded back in when you Yeah, automatically send someone else's answer. I love it. And then one other thing too that I didn't really go into is, say you do have that monthly newsletter that you send through Bloomerang, you can actually embed your Gratavids into that monthly newsletter, which is pretty cool because it adds another layer and another element to that newsletter. So maybe you have an exciting announcement, you release your annual report and you want to talk about it, you can embed those Gratavids in as well into the
Love it.
templates.
Yeah, love that. Use all the tools at your disposal. Use them, like make the most use out of them so you can really connect with your donors. And really what we want to get that is making it personalized for your donors and making those personal connections to your donors. We we love all the questions.
Hey,
It
I can send, give me 1 second. Hold on. You keep talking. I'll have it in there.
And please don't apologize for asking questions. We love all of your questions because we are as excited as you are to help you connect with your donors. So please don't be shy about asking questions. And if there are any questions that we missed, we will make sure to follow up via email. But
awesome. Sorry,
yeah,
last thing I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
So everybody's asking about embedding. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh, you're fine.
I posted a link, the Gratavid Zendesk. That's a video of showing you how to embed something inside Bloomerang. So watch that and it'll answer your question on embedding. And I'm done. Sorry, I'm too fired up.
You're fine. I'm also just like, we can talk about this. We can keep talking about this, but I know you all have a lot to do as well. So Frank and Will and Britt, any last words for our friends today?
Not from my side, just yet.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thanks for everyone's time. Again, if you have questions, book a demo. That's the easiest way to ask questions. Just add that one more link. Pricing, we'll walk you through it.
Yeah. Awesome. And if you do book a demo, you're going to get a personal video from me. So if you just want to see my face again, you don't want to get rid of me, do that too. But yeah, no, happy to help and to share some ideas too, because it always is an and strategy. And so keep up the good work and keep doing what you're doing for your mission. It's amazing.
Awesome. Thank you again, everyone, for joining us today. Thank you, Frank, Will, Britt. We hope to see you all in another Academy class soon. And we hope you have a great rest of your day.
Thanks.
Bye.
Awesome.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.